I'm everyone and no one. Everywhere, nowhere. Call me Darkman.
Welcome to Now Playing Podcast's Darkman Retrospective Series.
Now crime has a new enemy, and justice has a brand new face.
Hosted by Justin.
You handsome devil.
Arnie.
He's a freak, ladies and gentlemen. He's a freak.
And Stuart.
Be careful, he bites.
But be warned, this episode will contain detailed plot spoilers and strong language.
I think we've all learned a valuable safety tip here.
We hope you enjoy the show.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Today we're discussing Darkman III, Die Darkman Die, starring Jeff Fahey, Darlanne Fluegel, Roxanne Dawson, and Arnold Vosloo, directed by Bradford May. This is Arnie, co-host of Now Playing. Podcasting's a bitch, and so am I.
And Stuart?
And this is Justin.
So it didn't take long between Darkman 2 and Darkman 3 to come out. They were filmed in reverse, like I said. 3 was filmed before 2 because of Larry Drake's full filming schedule. But July 95, we got 2. August 96, we finally get the third and, as of now, final Darkman film.
Yeah. Last time you talked about all the incredible comic book series, video games, an attempt at a TV show. Die Darkman Die worked, right? He's dead. Drop, flop, it's over.
No, there is something else I will talk about at the end of this show.
But you're not going to surprise us with like a new retelling coming out in the middle of 2026 or anything, right?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, unfortunately.
Yeah, to be debated, I think. You know, this was all engineered by Blockbuster, and I'm guessing those tapes didn't rent the way that they wanted them to.
There were already plans, story pitches, and things for Darkman 4 and 5 to be filmed back to back, just like 2 and 3. Bradford May and Sam Raimi and Robert Tapert were having those discussions, and they had talked to Larry Drake about returning for a third time.
Okay, yeah, back to the well. Well, Arnold Vosloo had to be booking The Mummy by this point. Like, even he was too good for it.
The Mummy wasn't until 99. I guess, yeah, probably book it a year after this. I mean, good for him taking this direct-to-video stuff and using it as a resume stepping stone to move on to do Zeus and Roxanne, if you remember that movie.
Yes. Steve Guttenberg.
Yep, with the dog and the dolphin.
Yeah. I believe this Kathleen Quinlan is looking misty-eyed in the distance as a dog riding a dolphin. It's amazing. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
And then he did a Brian Usna film called Progeny, which I actually have never seen, but if it's from Brian Usna, I probably want to. And then he finally would come into his own as Imhotep, which we will get to someday.
I still have never seen a Mummy movie, but that will be corrected, yes. Anyway, getting back to Darkman, yikes. Okay, so you can't get Larry Drake. Kim Delaney's going back to NYPD Blue. Jeff Fahey? Boy, is that waving a white flag, right? Jeff Fahey in 1996? We got nothing.
I was pretty down on Jeff Fahey back then. I had seen him and knew him for 2 things and 2 things only. First thing I saw, but not the first release that I knew him from, was, of course, The Lawnmower Man, which we have reviewed and lambasted him in.
Yes. Terrible film. Terrible in it.
Awesome haircut.
Which one? His before transformation hair or after transformation hair?
Probably after, but I'm guessing both are probably a little bit hideous.
And then I also had seen on video the Body Parts movie, which... it's fun, you know? I thought it was really bad at the time, but Jeff Fahey, Brad Dourif, Kim Delaney, the guy who has an arm reattached and it's from a killer and so it tries to kill people while attached to Jeff Fahey. So I didn't really have a good feeling for him when I saw he was going to be the new bad guy in Die Darkman Die.
Probably got forgotten, but we did cover the series. He's in Psycho 3.
I mean, just looking at his IMDb, he's like the poor man's Eric Roberts. I mean, Eric Roberts is the poor man's Eric Roberts, so what is he doing here?
Yeah, if Eric Roberts is already living in your guest house with Kato, then what house is it, the doghouse that Fahey's living in? I will say Jeff Fahey has proven himself as a reliable character actor since then. I will make fun of him for his early 90s stuff, but when he showed up on the TV show Lost, I was like, oh my God, why'd they dig this fossil up? And he turned out to be pretty good in a role for a couple of years. And he's done other stuff I've seen that has not been bad with him in it.
I will say, if I'm not encouraged by the change-up of cast, that we get Fahey and Darlanne Fluegel. She was on Crime Story and Wiseguy. Anytime you needed a chick in a mob show, Darlanne Fluegel had it in the 80s.
Apparently, it was To Live and Die in LA that got her this role. William Friedkin and Bradford May hang out.
Okay.
So he was able to talk to Friedkin and be like, so who do you think would be good to play the bitchy doctor in my direct-to-video Darkman film?
Yeah, I'm sure that Friedkin thought long and hard. Feels like an episode of Punk'd. You know who's good? Darlene. But I am encouraged that there is new writers here. If there's not a new director, if it's the same old Darkman as last time, if you're giving me Jeff Fahey as the villain, there's at least a chance that we have a better story because we have two new screenwriters who are producing this, and that gives me some optimism because the writing was pretty bad last time.
My memory coming back to this was very positive, if you can believe that. I remembered not loving Return of Durant, feeling like Durant didn't really need to return. Was anybody really jonesing for Larry Drake, especially with what he ended up giving us in that movie? But Die Darkman Die, as I recall, really did have some energy to it, and I remember liking Fahey as the bad guy in it. So coming back to this one, and even when we decided we were going to do this retrospective, my thought was, 1 is of course an all-timer, 2 I probably won't like, but 3 will end on a medium high note.
Mm-hmm. You promised us that, just off air, just so people know. You were like, I know 2 suck, but 3's good. I was like, good, because I need this to get better. Spoiler alert, it won't.
I was going off of a memory 30 years old.
I know. It is reminding me of who you were in the mid-90s. And these writers that I'm banking are going to produce great work. They're the writers of Firehouse Dog and Face Off and Jim Carrey's The Mask. We haven't covered it. I think one day we will get to Dark Horse Comics, so I'll just table it. But it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I'll just put it that way.
Not as good as Son of Mask anyway, but let's not spoil that series just yet.
Yeah, well, save it. But yeah, I don't know what else you could be hopeful for. It's going straight to Blockbuster. It costs $3, and it's got who it's got. I mean, eek.
When you say this is going straight to Blockbuster and Blockbuster bankrolled it and all that stuff, does that mean it's exclusive to Blockbuster? Like if I had a Hollywood Video thing, I couldn't go get Darkman 3?
No, I actually got these at Family Video, all of them.
Okay.
It was just Blockbuster pushing Universal to make these movies at all.
Glad they're out of business. Arnie, you want to give them a plot?
There's a new crime lord in town, Peter Rooker, played by Jeff Fahey. He's been overseeing the drug deals in the city and looking to expand into making super steroids.
Already, I'm sorry.
Superoids.
Yeah.
Hey, they're good enough for Captain America. Rooker tends to his business all while neglecting his wife Angela, played by Star Trek Voyager's Roxanne Dawson, and his daughter Jenny. Instead, he spends time with his lover, Dr. Bridget Thorne, one of the doctors who took part in Darkman's post-burn surgeries, played by Darlanne Fluegel. Rooker has Thorne approach the Darkman, Peyton Westlake, played by Arnold Vosloo, pretending to be altruistic and offering to restore feeling to his nervous system. Instead, she installs an electroshock device in Darkman's neck so they can tase him. They also steal his floppy disk on which he has the formula for permanent synthetic skin that can fix his appearance for good. Thorne's goal is to analyze Darkman's adrenal system to find out why he has the strength of 10 men. They torture Darkman to get him in a heightened state, then take samples from which Thorne creates her super steroid. Rooker wants to use the drug to make his henchmen stronger and to sell underground, but Thorne, smartly, thinks there's more money to be made by selling this formula to Big Pharma.
Yeah, legal.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, yeah.
Darkman uses pliers to rip the taser out of his neck. He escapes captivity and makes a mask to impersonate Rooker so he can go to Rooker's house, break into his safe, and get his disc back. He's found by Rooker's young daughter Jenny and forced to pretend to be Rooker. He acts like a kind father and husband to them, making Jenny very happy and greatly confusing Angela. Rooker finds out about Westlake's duplicity, and he takes Angela and Jenny hostage to draw out Darkman. Darkman comes to fight Rooker, but he first has to fight through Rooker's super soldiers, and then Rooker himself, who has also taken the new super steroid. Darkman kills Rooker, but at a great cost. Darkman's precious floppy disk is destroyed, and Jenny suffers third-degree burns to her face. Darkman pretends to be a doctor and uses his single sample of permanent skin to fix Jenny's face, leaving himself deformed, and he returns to living in the shadows as credits roll.
As we start, it's the same thing, right? They're reusing footage. This is the same opening of Westlake's origin story. Crime has a new enemy. Justice has a brand new face. We saw all of this, making me feel like this is a TV episode.
Yeah, I felt like I was watching Saturday night TV, and it's like, yes, I know this intro. Let's get to the meat of the show.
But by that same token, if you'd skipped Darkman 2, you wouldn't be missing anything. And because we just watched Darkman 2 last week, I'm noticing the new inserted shots of doctors and nurses standing over Darkman saying, "We're going to help you." I'm like, those weren't in any previous montage. I wonder if this doctor's coming back.
You're onto him.
Yep. We got to see the shot from the original movie of that terribly green screen window of the hospital that was flapping open. So we knew that that plot line was going to come back in some form here this week.
Although, will it make sense? Does anything here make sense? Honestly. So it starts off, Jeff Fahey is a well-known drug, cocaine, crack, weed dealer who for some reason wants to get into the niche marketing of steroids.
Yeah, just start hanging out at a gym, man. You don't need to be doing this shit on the street with guns.
Yeah, I don't really understand why. Like later we're going to get a news report about high school kids dying of the steroids. These are bad steroids? He's buying from a bad steroid dealer?
I don't know anything about steroids, but I do think I know that you can't tell the quality of them by tasting them like Coke.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, they're like, this is bad shit. They've cut it with what, baby powder? How would you know this? This whole opening is trash, but it establishes the fact that Jeff Fahey wants roids. And I guess that's the major plot here.
Well, and we get reintroduced to our hero, air quotes, big time. Darkman shows up here playing his little game of dressing up like one of these guys. So we're to assume that he's been following these guys enough to get pictures and produce a mask of one of the henchmen. But what I'm noticing more is he's been doing this for a while. He's been doing this for at least 2 movies and however much time in between. And he's just not good at this. Like, he's sloppy. He's always off time. And, I know superpower is not feeling stuff, but like, man, find a stuntman who can run. There's a scene where he's running away here over some barrels, and it's like tiptoeing over them in slow motion. I'm sorry, this guy is a terrible superhero.
I found it pretty funny that they were trying to make the whole thing be that he was impersonating one of Rooker's men during this opening scene, but they're not even going to bother spending the money for much split screen, and the way it's lit, I can't even tell if it's the same guy. I think it's 2 identical twins who look similar, maybe? Because I was like, is that the same guy who just ran off the screen, running on the screen? They don't have much of the henchman looking at himself in the same frame. That great shot where Larry Drake was looking at Larry Drake in that revolving door. We get none of that here. We just get one guy pointing off screen and going, "That's not me!"
Yeah, and then we get another repeat. The real guy goes chasing after Darkman, goes into a sewer, gets spooked by his scarred face, and then they do the manhole kill again.
Yeah, but this time at least he gets decapitated by a plow. I appreciated that to a certain degree.
Yeah, this was an R-rated film compared to the PG-13 theatrical, and I feel like this is actually a little bit better than Ted Raimi's. It's not as fun. We don't have the Elfman score, and it doesn't move like a puppet, but it actually does look like a human being scared of cars instead of a stick figure that was being moved around.
I wouldn't say this looks good, but it's something. It gets the movie going, and it reintroduces us to Darkman. We're going to see him drop by Medicorp, and he's really looking for this DNA sequencer that they don't have, but they give him a suitcase with this equipment, and it's got a giant red blinking button on it that's supposed to be a tracker that he doesn't know is going to allow our villainess to follow him to his lair.
Worst superhero ever. I'm telling you, this guy is just...
You're convincing me. This guy is really stupid. Like, here's a case. You're not going to notice the blinking red light on the side. You're not going to go, hey, why'd you put this tracker on here?
It is whatever for me at this point because I'm trying to get my bearings with all of this, and it's moving pretty fast. He's getting this case. He's going back to his lair. His lair is cool. His subway personal conveyance vehicle is cool.
Come on.
Recycled footage, though.
Yeah, I know.
The same thing from last time.
Yeah.
What we need to learn here is where he's at with his experiments in regenerating skin. And what we find out is he still cannot break this 99-minute barrier. He still needs more equipment, more time. He hasn't figured it out in between movies. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is a Universal Pictures movie.
Oh, God.
Because we get a straight-up commercial for Universal Parks directly on the screen. Couldn't be more blatant.
I couldn't believe it. I had to back up because I'm hearing Alan Silvestri's Back to the Future score. And I'm like, wait a second. Why are they playing Silvestri? This is Elfman's territory. And then I'm looking and I'm like, wait, that's E.T. on the screen. What the hell is going on? Spielberg must be pissed.
Yeah, it's pretty crass to put a commercial at the beginning here of your theme park. And funny enough, I don't imagine Darkman is one of the people you can meet if you go to that theme park.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't see a Darkman ride being advertised in that ad.
And it wouldn't be safe to ride it on this budget.
There's some decapitations on the ride, but we won't worry about that.
Yeah, it's really lame. It's feeling like TV, like 70s Incredible Hulk, that each time he's like, 99 minutes, I still can't get this any closer. And if only I had a DNA sequencer, I could lick this. That's what they're setting up here. Meanwhile, Jeff Fahey is at home banging on a piano and saying, if only I had steroids.
I mean, did it strike anybody else as weird that he's playing piano, his henchmen are standing around him in his little foyer there? It's the middle of the day. Get a job or a lair. Don't be hanging out at home with your henchmen. This looks wrong.
Yeah, it's a weird look. Agreed. If a smarter, funnier director would see the humor in this and would play to it, that these men are rolling their eyes being like, yeah, we work for Liberace, he's ridiculous. But I mean, the piano is a plot point. The reason why they're introducing it here is because later Darkman's going to be wearing his mask and asked to play. And so that creates tension. But again, I can't blame Jeff Fahey for this. It's not like he's ruining this, but this is a really stupid villain.
I find him to be as good as Durant, honestly. I feel like he's just the same kind of thing. He's a generic crime boss who's evil and nefarious, and we've seen this stereotype of the crime boss who is neglectful and cheats on his wife and his daughter. Hell, this is a proto-Sopranos.
The problem is that you can very easily see that if they were able to get Larry Drake back, that they wouldn't have had to rewrite this at all. They just plugged somebody else in as crime boss and went with the same script.
They never wanted Larry Drake for this one. They always wanted a new bad guy for this one.
What I'm saying is he's not written as a different type of character. It's just another mob guy.
Yeah, and again, what does he want? Why steroids? I guess he gets a news report about all the high school football team is dying of the illegal steroids, and so he wants a better steroid. He watched Darkman kind of half leap over an electric fence, so he thinks that guy's strong. We can make a steroid out of him?
And just coincidentally enough, on his staff, literally and figuratively, is one of the doctors who worked on Peyton Westlake.
Yeah, this is what really doesn't make sense. So the person that put the big right blinking button on the medical equipment is Bridget. And Bridget is, I don't understand her deal. I feel bad that we made you lose sensation. It's not like he's paralyzed. Yes, they cut into his spinal nerves, but that was so that he wouldn't feel the pain of full body burn.
Right.
Why is restoring that good to anyone? Now you'll be in pain all the time. Great. Sign me up.
Right. They already have a medical issue that they can dangle over him. She should come to him with a cure for his 99-minute skin problem.
But she sort of does. She has the DNA sequencer he's been looking for. And that's the reason why he does it. He was like, yeah, you can cut into me so long as I get the DNA thing. And it works. That sequencer is the one thing that allows him to create a perfect formula. And the stupid guy only saves it on one red floppy disk.
Hey, I had many an important paper and even a few novels stored on only a single floppy disk. Backups were not de rigueur back then, sir.
She even goads him for that. He's like, aren't you sure you want to back this up? And he's like, no, like he gets an attitude. I'm like, this is ridiculous. You have the cure for synthetic skin and you don't think you should have 2 copies?
Right. You've got a lockbox at the post office we saw last movie. Just lock it in there. You'll be fine. But
and not to mention, she's a scientist. Don't you think she'd want that? Isn't there more money in that than in steroids?
Yeah. And joining up with the mob for some reason. Her motivation is crazy, but what's bothering me is all the writers could come up with is, for whatever reason, we have another fucking lab in a goddamn warehouse.
Yeah.
Why is that a necessity in this movie's theories?
Even better, she's like, Daddy paid for all of this. I'm like, well, Daddy didn't have enough money.
Daddy paid for a tent?
Yeah, you got an empty warehouse, and I think they shot it last movie, and they just threw a tent over a computer and said, ta-da.
I actually thought that the lab looked pretty high-tech.
You did not.
I did.
You did not.
I did. I was perfectly on board with selling me what this movie was giving me. I mean, yes, this is direct-to-video. Yes, this is a nice lab if I'm watching Sliders, or Knight Rider 2000, or War of the Worlds, the syndicated TV show. But it looked nicer than his lab in the dirty sewer.
Did it? I mean, again, I don't see that. I can't tell that this is an upgrade. Point is, she cuts into him and puts an implant in the back of his neck, and he wakes up with perfect skin. He's got a small sample. He pours it on his finger. He's like, oh, look, my finger came back. Forever. To understand this, it'll go forever. And she's not into that. She zaps him with this implant, and everything is about getting steroids out of his adrenal system.
Right, which makes me not understand why they even actually had the DNA machine there. Why did they draw him in and actually let him do his experiments before doing this to him? If that was the whole plan, just get him there and do it.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't think that through. I guess I just thought that was the equipment she had to do her work, which is steroids and other medical stuff.
But she works at the local hospital. And by the way, those doctors didn't know who he was. He was a John Doe. So the fact that she knows his name and all of this is a retcon.
I did have an issue, though, with her saying we can restore your feeling. Like you've pointed out, Stuart, what I take it is we can restore feeling without pain. Like he could sense something, but maybe not be screaming in agony the whole time, you know?
No, I don't know. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
I was trying to figure out why he'd want it.
Right. I know. That's what I'm saying. The coolest thing about what you did to me was I don't feel the pain of the wounds you can't heal.
But I thought that if she was able to make him feel something, because she attaches a taser to some nerve inside of him, so when they fire the taser, they make him hurt.
Yes, now he can feel pain, and that was their trick. And she's working, by the way, with Jeff Fahey. How that came together, don't know.
Yeah, it's basically a shot collar device to control him.
Yeah, and they have this whole thing about how they lock him up and then they let him escape so they can get him all hopped up. You know, he's running around. These are where we get some stunts here, some leaping, and a car explodes or something. He flies through the window. That adrenaline is what they need I don't know, at one point she's talking about a blood sample. Then she's talking about adrenal glands. I don't know. She takes some blue liquid out of him, and that's going to be her super steroid to rule the world.
You glossed over this action scene. This is a cool action scene.
Oh, stop.
This is the best action scene we're going to get in 2 movies. It is almost Raimi level, where he's running on the gantry outside. It feels like it has scope more than anything in Durant had. When he leaps from the gantry, it's a little cheesy as hell. But I'm feeling with all these men shooting at him and all the running, jumping, all the locations, this is feeling like okay action.
Wow. No, I'm not okay with it. I'm very not okay with it.
And I'm just sitting here wondering if Darkman's powers aren't available to him if he's in like a nice neighborhood or whatever, because all of his action scenes take place in like worn down industrial areas throughout all 3 movies. He's always on rusty roofs and silos and barrels everywhere. Can't he just like run down the street of a nice apartment?
But then they would have to pay extras.
Oh, yeah. I guess we got a little bit of that in the first. They were in a downtown area, so.
Yeah, you can't. This is the budgetary problem. You know, you got to be at abandoned warehouses because we cannot pay to have. Later, they're going to have a surprise party. And like, I think that's the whole production budget. Oh, they had 6 people gathered around.
I was actually impressed. I thought it might be the entire crew.
Yes.
Because there are like 30 people there. I'm like,
there you go. That's what they did. You're right.
They had a dress nice for work day for the gaffers.
Yeah. So yes, they're zapping him to get him all hopped up. They get the sample, and then I guess they decide they can kill him. By that point, he's already pulled out the implant, and he can use it to kill the goon that's coming for him. Boy, these are catchphrases that are not good. Looks like you've got an eyeful as he throws the implant in the guy's eye.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
You want to know what my worst one is? It really is bad, is when he's running in that scene I like, he goes, "Where'd you learn to shoot, you bunch of gummers?" What the fuck is a gummer? I actually went back and turned on the subtitles. I'm like, did he say gummer? Yes, he said gummer. Gummer.
Life's a bitch, and so am I. Again, I was looking forward to new writers. I am now lost all hope. These are terrible script and the same old bad everything. You're acting like what we got last week was acceptable. It was a not recommend from all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So that it's more of the same means that it's continuing to be bad.
I'm telling you it's better. Everything I've said is it's better. Fahey is better. He's more lively than Larry Drake. The action is better. And you don't like those lines. The ones you mentioned are cheesy. I do like it when Angela shows up at this lab and catches him screwing Thorne on a table. And Angela's like, "I'm sure she knows all about trash." And Thorne's, "I have a PhD in it." I don't know what it means, but I like it.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about this love triangle or quadrangle or whatever is going on. Talking about things that make no sense. So they got what they need from Darkman. They don't seem to think that his own discovery on the red disc is important. They throw it in a safe in Jeff Fahey's house. And now Darkman's got to make a Jeff Fahey mask to get to this disc that they don't care about. But in the middle of all of this is that Fahey has this wife who is mad that he's sleeping with the evil scientist and is going to be a love interest for Darkman. Darkman is going to fall in love with her because he puts on Fahey's mask?
It's worse than that, Stuart. He falls in love with the daughter and then therefore falls in love with the mother because he's like, "Oh, it's a whole package. I'll have an instant family."
I don't take it as a romantic love for either. I take it as he has an affection for and caring for specifically the girl. He is realizing this girl is neglected by her absentee crime lord dad. And so when she is asking for somebody to help her get a drink in the kitchen and then having the party and he's being asked to play the piano. He doesn't know how to play the piano. So he makes the daughter come and they play Pop Goes the Weasel together. I think he's realizing this girl has a bad life and he's enjoying having any human connection. He's just been living alone in a sewer this whole time, robbing thieves. He's actually feeling like a father figure to this girl who needs one.
Okay, are you enjoying this? Arnie, I really need to know at this moment, are you telling me that this is tender drama that is pulling on heartstrings?
I'm saying it's sufficient.
Wow. Sufficient. Okay.
I'm having a problem with the future psychological bills this child's going to have. When she finds out that some of these core memories of good times with her father's, the few that apparently she's had, because he won't show up to any of her plays, he's not there at night to tuck her in bed, but Darkman's doing this, she's going to find out at some point that there was a dude without skin on his head pretending to be her dad, and that's just going to F her up.
Why would she ever find that out? Why would her mother ever tell her this?
Well, if he stayed with them, we'll get to the end, which makes no sense, but then again, par for the course here. In the middle of all of this, yes, this party scene where he thought he was going to get his disc from the safe, but it turns into a birthday surprise, and he gets a locket from the daughter. In barges another subplot. Somehow it's now important that we assassinate a district attorney?
This is out of left field for me. When the district attorney comes in and the question is, why is Mitchell here? Oh, he's a civilian observer until he's elected tomorrow. And I'm even like, what's he going to be elected to? I'm guessing district attorney. Later, they'll say district attorney. But this was completely unnecessary. I don't understand what this entire DA subplot enhances, underlines, impedes on anybody's part. It's just another person Fahey needs to kill to seem evil. But Fahey's going to kill a lot of people, so I really didn't need a DA for there too.
The point is that everyone that's at this party is mob adjacent, right? They know that Jeff Fahey does criminal things. So when Westlake wearing Fahey mask says, I'll name names, it's a real party killer, right? Suddenly people are leaving, they're calling lawyers, they're mad at him, and he's getting out of there before the real Fahey comes home and gets their scorn.
I think that's a really smart thing to do as Darkman, is to be a criminal mastermind that says, I'm going to give you all the information. I think that's one of the smartest underminings that Westlake has done as Darkman. What I didn't like is it was 91 minutes when he was getting in the safe, I think. He's looking at that stopwatch. He's done a hell of a lot of piano playing, schmoozing.
Put the girl to bed.
Yeah.
The dance with the wife, and she's reminding him, this is our wedding song, and you cheated on me on our wedding night.
I loved that their wedding song, though, was from An Officer and a Gentleman, Love Lifts Us Up Where We Belong. That was a fun throwback.
It makes me laugh that that song is so cheap in 1996 that this movie can afford it.
Love lift this budget where it...
Yeah, it does not belong. Anyway, yes, then we have all these scenes about him going to the play that Fahey never would. And of course, it's Beauty and the Beast, which is, so metaphorical.
A little on the nose.
Yeah, it's just awful.
This is where it loses me. This movie drops anchor. I don't understand why Darkman is spending so much time under one mask. I mean, I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I get the emotional plot that they're trying to sell me, but I need some things to move. I need more than watching Beauty and the Beast and having repetitive scenes of connecting with this family the way they do. And meanwhile, Fahey is working on the drugs, and I love that Thorne is making captain's log entries of verbal recorded journal of Rooker wants to sell this underground, but I think pharmaceutical companies would pay more. And, she could just tell that to Rooker too, and they could split it, but...
She literally tells herself in her voice notes, call my sources in the drug industry. Give that one more right over there, guys.
It's going to get weirder, guys. We're going to go to Chez Royale for some kind of shootout that I literally don't understand what happens there. But before we do, I guess it's worth pointing out that the steroid has worked. The Darkman adrenal glands have produced a blue liquid that she injects 4 goons with, and they're slapping each other around.
Turns them into 13-year-old boys.
Yeah, I know, right? That means they're ready to go and attack this political rally. So the climax is building to where the DA is going to be ripped apart, limb by limb, by these hopped-up steroid users, while... Help me out. Why are they targeting the wife?
They're targeting the wife just to capture her so that he can re-establish their relationship by murdering Thorne.
But Thorne is under the impression that he is going to kill his wife and she's going to watch so they can be together?
Yes.
She's in love
yes.
with Jeff Fahey?
Somebody is, yes. Somebody must love that man.
And she needs to watch He can't just dump her like any other mobster. He's got to have this French restaurant. The waiter is going to come and like, I brought your burgundy and a gun. And she's going to be there in a red wig to watch it go down.
It's at this point that I'm like, what was sufficient has become awful. It really lost the thread. It had something going, but it took too long here. It inserted a DA subplot. And yeah, I don't understand. Fahey should know his wife is a vanilla. Shooting his mistress dead in front of his wife is not the romantic gesture that shooting his wife dead in front of his mistress would be.
Yeah, I don't get it. And why he makes the waiter do it? Is that just what do you do at this restaurant? Anything you want, you can just put a hit out and the waiter's going to go do it?
No cops, no talk of it later on. And matter of fact, Darkman comes across the scene and gets some final words from her before she breathes her last breath.
I know. What's going on here? I don't understand. All right, so they will need to kill the district attorney because he's going to come hard down on crime, and that's important to do. And so you tell us these four guys are ready to rip him apart. Why doesn't it happen? They run up to the podium and like one's shot dead and the other three just leave.
I don't know. If Westlake is there pretending to be the DA, and he takes off the DA mask and has a Westlake mask under it. I always love when he double masks. That shouldn't work. You should not be able to wear a mask over a mask. You can't puppet that shit.
Especially how thick these look whenever he takes them off.
Mm-hmm. So he somehow convinces Fahey, let's forget this DA and instead let's focus on killing Darkman and let's take my wife and daughter hostage and the floppy disk so we have everything Westlake wants. Because it was dropped that Angela didn't believe when Westlake showed up and is like, I'm the man who you've really been spending all your time with. She's like, no. And then when her husband is like, I know I missed that Beauty and the Beast play, Angela realizes, oh shit, that wasn't you.
What are we supposed to believe with this? That this is a love story? That we want Westlake to end up with this family?
The score implies that. The score is very swoony, like, ooh-doo-doo.
Yeah, I agree. So bizarre. And meanwhile, 4 steroided goons that rush a platform can't beat up a man that's not Westlake, right? This is the real dude.
Right. Yeah, that's the real dude.
So why are we worried for them being the villains in the climax?
Yeah, we never see them do anything except slap ass a little bit.
Yeah, these are not tough, big. They didn't even give them makeup effects. They don't have big muscles, nothing.
Yeah, they should have like bulging veins all over the place. Hulk out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking even Reanimator, low-budget 1985 stuff with big veins and just a little airbrushing, Get some real big guys and airbrush to make them look veinier or dangerous or something. But no, they just look like frat bros are attacking Darkman.
Yeah. And it's all in this darkened warehouse at the end where one gets thrown into an electrical wiring and Darkman's always got to come from the ceiling. I've noticed that's his trick.
But first he has to travel via train cart conveniently right to wherever he needs to be. That little subway train takes him right there.
I mean, it's a cool transport. I'll give him that. But yeah, it's silly. But these goons are a joke. Can you call this steroid thing a success if this is your end result?
And I know both of you guys, I did too, had a problem with distinguishing the goons in the last movie, but I felt like they were at least visually different enough I could tell who was who. These guys are all just a bunch of doofs.
Yeah.
One guy had a Carhartt denim jacket on, and that's the most distinguishing thing I can remember about any of them.
Yeah, terrible. Terrible. And then they have a disc of true scientific break, not some bad steroid, but something that could create real skin. Think of how much money you'd make for that. And Jeff Fahey shoots it. The only copy, it's gone. And now they only have a tiny vial.
Yeah, he wants to be in the pharmaceutical business, but not be in the pharmaceutical business.
I guess not. Only if it's steroids. And he's now injected the steroids. So he's now going to battle Darkman and slap him around. And he would have won if his wife didn't knock the ceiling down on him.
This happens every time. Last movie, too, somebody else saved Darkman. He had got his ass kicked and was about ready to die, and something falls from above.
Yeah, it was one thing to drop something on somebody. She makes the ceiling fall on him.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand anything in this movie. I'll be honest. Things are happening. I'm like, does anyone understand what's happening?
It is really poorly directed and staged action here. Everything that was going well early on with the action is going poorly here. The shots are too close. I know the movie's called Darkman, but everything is too dark. I can't tell what's going on. And Fahey is not physically imposing, nor can he even play physically imposing. At no point do I think he's a danger to Darkman. And when Fahey falls into the trash compactor, it is honestly hysterical. Fahey looks so bored, and there's no gore, there's no blood. This is an R-rated movie. Give me Fahey getting mulched and nothing.
Yeah, you got fake masks, right? Like, put one of those masks in there and watch his head crush a little bit. But hey, we're not done yet, because not only is he dead, but before he died, he shot a canister of gas that burned his daughter's face. Is that what happened?
Well, he crashed into a natural gas main, and she was running up, Daddy, Daddy, don't be evil. And stupid girl, she walked into it's her fault that she's disfigured. I'm going to victim shame her, because I don't like her. And I wouldn't want to go to that Beauty and the Beast play either. I'm Team Fahey. Just jump in the meat grinder.
Yes.
There's no good outcome here. Just go away.
I am going to give the movie one little tiny piece of credit here. Whoever was their pyrotechnic guy on this had some pretty damn impressive explosions here at the very end. You can actually see, like, the concussion of, like, the fireball expanding out and knocking the poor stunt people back a little bit.
Okay, it's funny you should say that. The explosion went really badly. People were almost injured.
Of course! The one good effect was something that went wrong and wasn't supposed to be such a big fireball.
Apparently, the special effects guy had this all rigged to a single hammer blow.
Oh, no.
And the director is like, thankfully no one was hurt, but it could have gone really bad.
Yeah, we're all Darkman now.
That's the one true thing that came across on the screen here, was that potentially was really bad.
There you go, trying to compliment this movie. That's what you get. No, they didn't even mean to do that.
The biggest effect was an accident.
Anyway, little girl is scarred, and wouldn't you know it, there's just that one vial of perfect everlasting skin, and Darkman is going to pour it on her face so that she can have a face again, and then leave this family that he loves? The woman's even, like, chasing him up to the roof and being like, don't go.
This movie leaves me with a lot of questions, but the biggest one is what flippin' hospital can you just walk into an active OR and hand the doctor something and not get kicked out? You can't just walk into the hospital and into a scrubbed up operating room.
This was the 90s, okay? You absolutely could.
You could smoke in there.
I'm in the middle of an operation, but some rando runs in and pours a vial on my patient, and we're like, oh, cool, good enough.
Cool, that worked. Awesome.
Of course, even when I watched this in the 90s, I remember the moment that baby gets burned, I'm like, well, we know why Westlake isn't going to get to keep his vial of skin. Did you notice that the Darkman face effects in this looked especially bad, too? It's like they didn't put KY jelly on it. It looked really rubber masky instead of looking gooey and woundy. It just looked more Freddy and less Darkman.
There were parts where they didn't even bother having him try to move his mouth while talking. Like, it was literally just a voice coming out between his teeth.
It's terrible, but I also just want to underline, he has the DNA sequencer. Can he just go do the damn thing again?
Does he have the DNA sequencer?
She gave it to him. What happened to it?
Did he take it back to his lair, or did it blow up in that explosion?
All right, maybe it blew up, but you can't get another one?
Or he can't take just a little bit of the sample that he has and reverse engineer it?
Yeah, his finger got fixed by it. You don't remember what you did? You didn't write down any note? Oh, stop. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie.
I can't tell if at the end the wife is like, I love you, Darkman, I don't care that you're ugly. Or if she's just like, I want to see the face of the man who saved us from our evil husband, and then you can go live in the dark.
I think it's Beauty and the Beast. I think she's supposed to be, I love you and I accept you, and suddenly he's just not into it.
It's the fatal flaw of this entire series. The first movie kind of works on its own, but after 3 movies of this, the creators expect us as the audience to want him to stay in this state.
Right, yeah. It'd be easier if he accepted that. I mean, again, the end of the first movie kind of told us, I'm not that dude anymore. But But these movies are telling us every time I'm going to get stuck being this charred skeleton and going, next time I'll figure out how to make my mask last 100 minutes.
He could do the same thing as Darkman if he got his original face back and then still go out and fight crime by wearing the face of his enemies. He doesn't have to be a skeleton man to do that.
Yeah, agreed.
So Justin, Stuart, do you recommend Darkman 3, Die Darkman Die? Justin.
Nope. Stuart, what do you think? No, I did not come in with any expectations after last week's entry here. I'm gone from the original movie, the unintentional funniness, the somewhat tongue-in-cheek fun vibes and jokes that they were telling. Sam Raimi told a story there that I think is funnier in retrospect at the time they were making it. And for whatever reason, they really thought that they had something here that needed to keep going. And they just didn't. The only thing I could keep thinking of throughout this, and I think they were thinking about it too, is Harvey Dent. We have Harvey Dent, who's a guy who loses half of his face, and Christopher Nolan really put that on screen in a really cool way. And I know this is the 90s, but I still have that in my head. And looking at this mask over the last couple movies, I just cannot get on board with this. The special effects either need to lean into it or improve to the point where it's like, okay, this is what this guy looks like, but they're just not even putting an effort into that either. So I don't even know where to go with this. I mean, there's nothing really to laugh at. There's over-the-top acting here, but it's not even played as funny or corny. This whole thing is tedious. That's about as much as I can say about it. I feel happy that we're done with this and there's no surprise Darkman reboots coming out or anything. I'm happy that Darkman got 3 movies and left it in the 90s, and that's where I'm going to leave it.
Stuart?
Yeah, the movie, literally, there's nothing left from the original film anymore, and that includes its charm and its creativity. This husk that remains is one of the worst examples of 90s superhero movies. I mean, we've reviewed them all, and at least in Fantastic Four, Corman, or Generation X, there was permission to laugh. This thing is mirthless. This thing is not funny. It's doing incredibly stupid things and seemingly unaware of it. And I can't understand anyone's motivation. Darkman suddenly wants to play house with a mobster's dame and daughter, and Jeff Fahey wants to take steroids, and this doctor that was trying to help a man suddenly wants to make him feel pain. Then watch this movie. If you want to feel pain, you'll tear your face off trying to get through this one. I didn't like Durant's return, but at this point, I am ready to scream, Die Darkman Die. The franchise has lost its nerve.
And like I said, I had good memories of this. Yes, the title is comical, but I liked it. It's like a throwback to the comic book issue titles of the 60s and 70s. Die Darkman Die is like straight out of a Spider-Man comic where Doc Ock is out for revenge. But my memory was, once you got past the title, the movie was pretty good, and Fahey was a fun villain. Nostalgia's a hell of a drug, isn't it? Possibly more powerful than a super steroid.
Yes, yes.
I still think Die Darkman Die is a step up from The Return of Durant, but it also suffers from many of the same problems. I'm going to start with what I think's better. Fahey is a better bad guy than dull Larry Drake was in that second film. Not saying Larry Drake in the first film. Larry Drake in the first film was great, but Larry Drake in the second film, Fahey's better. And yeah, sure, Fahey's character's in the same mold as Durant, poorly defined drug lord, he's just evil for evil's sake, but Fahey brings a little bit of energy here that Drake had in the first film. He's maniacal, he's gleeful, he's malevolent, and Fahey, who I had no respect for in 96 thanks to Lawnmower Man and Body Parts, I think shows some acting chops here. And I know you guys may push back, but I think his performance as Westlake posing as Rooker is vastly different than when he's playing evil Rooker himself. I think Fahey and Vosloo maybe worked together on body mannerisms, but I really believed it was Vosloo under a Fahey mask during those scenes and not just Fahey playing the same.
Yeah, I can believe this is from the screenwriters of Face Off. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, I do know Fahey will become a reliable character actor, but I see here he actually can give a performance. And I think overall, the acting is an upgrade from part 2. And when they put Darkman through that gantry, it's nowhere near what Raimi did. But it at least has some scope and some action. So there are things here that I think save this film from being the total trash of the second one. But it doesn't come anywhere close to a recommend. I mean, first, the series' big gimmick is a hero who can be a chameleon, like the Spider-Man villain, and impersonate everyone. And this has a lot of the movie Darkman is just pretending to be Rooker, and it's not fun impersonation going on. The 99-minute time limit doesn't bring any suspense this time. He's sitting through Beauty and the Beast. Is he going to the bathroom and changing masks halfway through? Being discovered by a crime lord's young daughter has more drama than being caught by the crime lord himself, but lacks the suspense. And then there's just movie has long stretches where it drags. The DA stuff, the period after Darkman escapes, and Thorne spends a lot of time developing her steroid, and Darkman's just hanging with the family. There's a lot here, and it kills the momentum. By the time we got to that lackluster climax, I was pretty checked out due to the doldrums of the second act. I was right in remembering it better than part 2, but sadly, very sadly, a not recommend.
Yeah, easily not a recommend. If you recommended this, my God, how bad does it have to get? I mean, shit.
I didn't think it was shit, is I guess where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I didn't think the second movie was as bad as you're making it out to be, as I think part of the problem. Yeah, it was dull, but at least it wasn't face-slappingly stupid.
Hey, that movie, they dropped a dummy off of a roof in a golf cart. That's at least doing something.
Yeah. It's see Darkman and then don't even bother the other two. And you're telling me he didn't die? That there's more?
There is very little more. It took some digging, but in the years since Darkman III, Die Darkman Die, obviously the chances of 4 and 5 were scuttled quickly. But in 2008 came another comic series, Darkman versus the Army of Darkness.
Okay.
On one hand, I'm like, okay, they're both owned by Raimi, so it's probably easy to get the rights to both. But on the other hand, I really was curious, in what world do these two exist? All I could imagine going in is Ash sees Darkman and thinks it's a fucking deadite and it tries to attack Darkman with a chainsaw. That's all I could imagine.
Yeah.
It does not go that way. Darkman's girlfriend, Julie, from the first movie, is still a lawyer, going through some guy's estate. The lawyer is doing probate, I guess. She was a contract lawyer, but now she's estate planning. But in this estate is the Necronomicon, and reading a passage from it turns Julie into the Queen of the Dead, just like in Army of the Dead, and unleashes a torrent of deadites on the city. And so Darkman gets his hands on the Necronomicon and finds a passage that's supposed to pull a hero from the past to help with this fight. And so it brings Ash, I guess, from the Army of Darkness world, or I know Ash has been in a lot of comics. For all I know, he went back in time again. He seems to be time traveling a lot. So he's brought to the city, and he and Darkman must team up to stop the Deadites. But there's some strife because Ash wants to kill the Queen of the Damned, and Darkman doesn't want Julie to be killed. So they fight against each other, and then the Queen of the Dead resurrects Durant to be her lieutenant.
Oh, God. God, it's tough. When you didn't build enough to have a franchise, but you try to have one anyway, boy, it's sad.
Yeah, you can only play one note so long.
Well, they played it as long as they could. They did say, had there been a 4 and a 5, they would have made it so that Westlake actually, I don't understand this, but the director said this in the commentary for part 3. That Westlake would have found a way to get past the 99-minute barrier. So he'd have permanent skin. So what's the plot now?
I think there's interesting ways to take this character. Give him a device that, yes, he figured out how to fix his skin, but here's the problem. It doesn't disappear after 99 minutes, but it turns into something else. That's how he goes around like, oh, I'm somebody else now for the next hour and a half. Just some sort of plot to make it interesting, but just his face burning off every 99 minutes is not enough to keep a franchise going.
Yeah, it was repetitive. You know what you described is not something that I need to consume. We'll be getting Evil Dead later this summer, and I'll just wait for that. I don't need it to be mashed together with other Sam Raimi things. I don't think that Sam Raimi was wrong. He made a sellout picture. he used it as a calling card for Hollywood to show them that he's a guy that could give us a lot of energy. But Darkman itself, as a creation, as something to continue, why do it when we have so many other vigilante superheroes?
I feel like there's still a place for an anti-hero. I feel like a reboot that really explored this a little bit more, maybe focused more on his anger issues, which I feel were underdeveloped in parts 2 and 3. Like, if he was dangerous at times, if his anger made him possibly dangerous to little Julie, and we felt suspense about him being around a little girl, would he go nuts? We'd have a lot more going for us. I think this could be reinterpreted and done well, but what we got doesn't have a great legacy, I'm sad to say.
Yeah, to me, it would just feel like a Deadpool ripoff at this point if they were to try to reboot this.
I mean, of course they could, and they probably will at some point, but it just doesn't seem to have that much. Let me put it this way. You need to spend a whole lot more energy on what he's going to be facing, because he never had a good villain.
No, he didn't. From part 1, it was not good. It was very lazy.
Well, we're going to the theater a couple times. This Friday, we're back in the Bone Temple. 28 years later, finally has its second half, maybe part 2 of 3, yet to be determined. But we're going to get some answers to 28 years later. I'm eager to hear them.
Bone Temple sounds like some frat guy's bedroom.
I know, it has just a dirty connotation.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see Ray Fiennes and he takes it there. I don't know. Meanwhile, we're going back to Silent Hill next week, you guys. For the third time, that director, Christoph Gans, is taking us to, well, a franchise I've always wanted to like. It's got a cool atmosphere, but it's yet to work as a movie. Maybe a return to Silent Hill will be the trick.
I would rather have a direct-to-video Darkman 4 than go back to the now playing arcade.
I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic about going back to Silent Hill. We'll see what happens.
Well, thank you, listeners, for voting for Darkman and ruining my early adulthood memories of how good this was when I was young. You voted for Darkman and you voted for Robert Langdon, and we shat on them all.
Anything else you love that we can destroy?
Oh, we will be back next week with Silent Hill. So now it's time for us to disappear like a nightmare before the breaking day.
Vengeance has many casualties, the guilty and the innocent. My salvation was buried with those who would rescue me from revenge, and so I continue to face the darkness, alone.
Thank you for listening to this Now Playing Podcast movie review.
Suppose this is goodbye then.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
Nothing lasts forever, pizza face.
Help us spread the word about this show by leaving a 5-star review on Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, or your podcast store of choice.
System ready to receive input.
Want more reviews like this one? In the archives section of NowPlayingPodcast.com, you'll find more than 1,000 in-depth movie reviews from our panel of hosts.
I guarantee they'll make you happy.
On our site, you can hear reviews for every installment in the world's biggest film franchises, including the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, James Bond, Middle-earth, Jurassic Park, Fast and Furious, Star Wars, and Transformers.
We got a surprise for these gentlemen.
And come back to NowPlayingPodcast.com next Tuesday for another all-new movie review podcast.
What is it about the dark? What secret does it hold?
Support from listeners like you keeps Now Playing Podcast on the air.
Consider the big picture.
Consider what we're building here.
You can donate directly by tapping the support button at NowPlayingPodcast.com.
I would have tried to help you. I can help you now.
And you can join our crowdfunding campaign for early access to new episodes, exclusive reviews, and bonus reviews available for a one-time contribution.
Life in the city isn't cheap. Death is.
Need more Now Playing? Subscribe to our In Focus weekly newsletter for exclusive digital download giveaways, celebrity interviews, behind-the-scenes insights, and more. Sign up through the subscribe page on our website and get it delivered to your inbox every Friday.
Now, the pink elephant, if you please.
You can also compare notes with us on Letterboxd. Go to letterboxd.com/nowplaying to see what our hosts are watching when we're not recording podcasts.
Whose little boy are you?
And follow Now Playing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel.
That would be just fine. That would be just fine. That would be just fine. That would be
just fine.
Now Playing Podcast is produced by Arnie Carvalho.
Look! Look about you! It's all mine! Because I built it! I built it all!
Associate produced by Jason Latham.
So good of you to favor me with your venerated presence.
Now Playing is edited by Heath, Andrew, Santiago, and Arnie.
10 years ago, pain would have been intolerable. This man would have spent the rest of his life screaming. Naturally, we give them every chance of recovery. Remain optimistic, inspire confidence. Personally, I give him a 9 on the buzzard scale.
Now Playing credits read by Brock.
You hear something?
Yeah. Your mouth.
The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual hosts and may not reflect the views of Venganza Media Incorporated.
I told you everything!
I know you did.
But let's pretend you didn't.
Venganza Media Incorporated is not affiliated with, and this podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by any entity that created the film analyzed herein.
I'm not going to jail for anyone, Nico.
All movie clips and music included in this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders. They are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.
You want to make a point, you want to make it stick, you use your fists.
Now Playing Podcast is an exclusive trademark of and may not be used without the express written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated.
If you're not going to kill me, I have things to do.
Now Playing is a Venganza Media production, copyright 2026, and no part of this show may be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated. All rights reserved.
Oh God, what have I become? What have I become?